Hello and welcome to Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC.
A weekly podcast and YouTube channel where we discuss all things Wrexham AFC from the point of view of long-term fans and new fans.
So sit back, put your feet up, relax and let's get stuck in. Hello and welcome to episode 145 of Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC. Hello, Siân.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Well.
Good. Ish.
Ish.
Yeah, so.
Middling.
Yeah, middling.
Middling.
Yeah. Look, coming up on this week's show, we have a very special guest. I'm assuming you know who that is from the title of the episode, but it's not really a secret. So we've got Billy Ashcroft joining us for a little chat later in the show. Very excited about that.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about our trip to Wigan. So a roundup of the news from last week. And we're going to look ahead to two very important games against Bristol Rovers and against Blackpool.
Before we start, I would like to say, if I say Saturday or Tuesday, apologise. I just want to say now, we know the games, the Bristol Rovers on Friday and the Blackpool games on Monday. So I know that.
Yeah.
But if I do say Saturday and Tuesday,
Yes.
I apologise now.
Yes.
But I will try my best to say the correct days.
Yes, please do. Look, something very important to mention before we get into it. As we just mentioned, the game against Blackpool is on Monday. This show obviously normally comes out on Monday, but next week's show is going to come out on the 23rd of April, which is Wednesday. A very good reason for that. I'm sure you can guess why. We normally record on a Sunday, release on a Monday. Mm-hmm. We're staying in Blackpool for a couple of days, so we'll be in Blackpool on the Sunday. So we'd be recording on the Sunday in Blackpool, but then it would be released after the game has just finished, which doesn't really seem to make sense. So we're just going to move the next episode back 2 days. It will be out on Wednesday at 6 p.m. instead of Monday at 6 p.m. So
But I will put posts on just to remind everybody,
Yes.
just so we don't forget.
Look, a little bit of news this week. So Arthur Okonkwo won the PFA Fans Player of the Month for March.
Even though we couldn't vote.
Even though for whatever reason we couldn't vote for him.
We did have somebody messages after the last week's episode saying that they're in America and they also couldn't do it. So they were also getting the same message. So it wasn't our Wi-Fi.
It wasn't our Wi-Fi. There was a few people I'd seen saying that they couldn't vote for him for whatever reason. So congratulations to Arthur.
Didn't make any difference. He still won it.
Yes, yeah, exactly. They tried to put the Wrexham fans down, but we still find a way of getting him to win it. So, talking about wins.
I was just about to say also, Phil Parkinson also won Manager of the Month for March. So that was a nice. I didn't even know that was even a choice to vote for him.
No, I don't remember seeing a vote, but I don't think there is a vote. So he won the Sky Bet League One Manager of the Month.
Right.
Whereas Arthur won the PFA Fans Player of the Month.
Oh, okay.
So because Arthur won the Fans Player of the Month, that's obviously voted for by the fans.
Uh-huh.
The Manager of the Month is decided by the EFL, I think.
I wonder what feels like a bigger accolade, whether you're voted by your fans or by, big corporate bosses or whatever.
I would think if you, depends on the industry. So if you talk about music, for example, I would say artists would much prefer to win an award that is voted for by music lovers than maybe they are by industry bigwigs. Mm-hmm. In football, probably a bit different in the sense of, I'm guessing you would want awards. All awards are nice, but I'm guessing you'd want an award that's been voted for by a panel of football experts, shall we call them, whatever they are, or because if you're voted for by the fans, the winner of that award really is just going to be whichever team has got the most fans.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Do you get me? So
Wrexham
fans are never going to vote for the Wickham manager or the Reading manager. They're always going to vote for Parky. So it's probably
true.
It's a competition of who's got the most fans. I dare say. So
maybe. So congratulations, Parky. Yeah, well deserved, I think.
More congratulations.
Yes, the Wrexham women's under-19s became champions of the Gennaro Adrian under-19s North League last weekend.
Well done for getting that out, because there's a lot of words in there.
There is a lot of words there.
Yeah.
Was it last weekend or last week? I can't remember.
It was last week. It was an evening game last week. But yeah, fantastic accolade. You know what we're obviously, in the women's game, they're obviously working towards an under-19s team winning a title like that. You're obviously building towards the future as well. So it's fantastic news, that is. One last piece of news I think that came out this week is
last week.
Yes, last week. Sorry. Welcome to Wrexham's coming back.
Yes.
It's not a shock. We knew it was coming.
Yeah.
But it's nice to know when, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's coming out on the 15th of May. I think on the 15th of May that is being released in America.
On Hulu.
On Hulu? Disney?
Hulu.
Is it on Disney Plus?
I've just seen it advertised for Hulu. But
yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it works.
It's a Disney production, so I'm assuming so. Well, not Disney production,
yeah,
but
because it comes out in America first, doesn't it? Because it comes out in the evening,
and then it comes
in
out
America, and then it comes out here in the morning.
Yeah.
But I think maybe it's sort of the same time, but it's just anyway. But yeah.
So is that May the 15th here or May the 15th in America?
Let's just go with May the 15th.
It'll be around then.
Yeah.
But we'll keep you updated.
I'm excited. You excited?
I'm excited. Yeah. It's good. We obviously, we're very, very good friends with Sandy, who obviously works with the show.
I've got a Sandy story.
Have you got a Sandy story?
I have got a Sandy story.
We love Sandy.
So we went to Wigan on the weekend, and I needed a wee. So we parked up and stuff, and we'd gone to get some food, and then I went, I'm just going to nip over to the supermarket over the road, and
so the Asda's,
just to go to the toilet, and then the road was really busy, so I wouldn't recommend this, but I crossed halfway into the road, and then a car came behind me, and then beat me. And I was like, I turned around quite angry, like, what were you beeping for? There's loads of room behind me. And I turned around, it was Sandy, so Sandy nearly knocked me over. No, he didn't really. He didn't, I'm joking, but it was just like, I turned around quite sort of angrily, like, who's beeping me?
And then you saw lovely Sandy's face.
And I was like, hello. But yeah, so, look, if you do want to support the show, you can do by visiting our Buy Me a Coffee page, which is buymeacoffee.com/me the wife. Huge thank you to Linda this week, who she
supported the show.
She did support the show. She left us a little message which said, because you drove to the Wigan game and it wasn't the best game they've had, she bought us a coffee.
I mean, that's so lovely. Thank you so much, Linda.
Yeah.
You are a very good friend of the show.
Yes, thank you very much. Quick fancy EFL update. The update is...
There is no update?
There is no update, but not in the way that you would normally think there is no update. So there is no update because I haven't checked. I don't actually know. I can tell you one thing. Right?
You're not in the running.
I'm going to do a top one. Right?
Ben Parker.
Ben Parker's number one because I saw that he was number one. I forgot to write down who was 2 and 3. I'm going to guess it's Ian Dougal and C. Williams, but that might not be the case. So if somebody has moved into 3rd place, I just can only apologise, to be honest, that I am not shouting you out because when we started recording, I went, I haven't checked.
Disgusting.
So it is pretty bad, and I do apologise for that. But there, the update is no update. But there you go. Let's talk about Wigan.
Let's talk about Wigan.
We went stupidly early, didn't we?
Yeah, somebody said, I'm not naming any names, Ian. Let's go early because we might not get a car parking space, and then we won't know where to park. We got there at 9:30.
We did get there at half
There
nine.
at 9:30. The car park was as big as Wembley.
Yeah.
So we probably didn't need to leave as early as we did.
No, look.
Don't
Right.
try and get out of it now.
No.
You were wrong.
So I'm gonna shift the blame a little bit. So I'm going to shift the blame onto Barry, who works on the Progress with Unity podcast. He said to me, he goes, look, there's loads of parking at the ground. You know, get there early. You know, don't be any later than 10 sort of thing. You know, make sure you parked and you can go and get some food. So I listened, and that's what we did.
Yeah.
We left early because we didn't know what the traffic was going to be like.
No traffic.
No traffic, straight through. Got there, and so we drove past the car park at first because we knew it was car park 1 that we had to be in. Just missed it, so I had to turn around, come back. Pulled into the car park, paid for the parking. I think we were the 5th car in a car park that probably fit about 1,000 cars. So yeah, we were stupidly early, but we did go.
The weather, if it was raining, I think I would have been annoyed.
Yes.
Because the weather was cracking the flags.
Yes.
I thought, it's fine. But yeah, walking around for how many other hours it was?
No, we didn't. Look, we walked down to the ground. We had a little look at the ground. We walked down. We got a little bit of food, and then we sort of walked back up. We did a live outside, little short live outside. We saw the team turning up.
Yep.
So we clapped the lads as they got off the bus. Did you see the lad doing keepy uppies outside?
No.
So there was a young lad, right, and he was doing. I kept looking over at him because there was quite a big crowd outside, wasn't there? There was a lad who was doing keepy uppies and little tricks and stuff like that outside, and I was fascinated by him, and I was like, I could watch you for hours. I wish I had watched him for hours, to be honest, instead of going in and watching the game. But but he must have only been. He looked about 6, 7, maybe 8. I don't know, but he was very young, and I was just fascinated by. He was very good at doing it.
I don't know. Where was I?
You were there, but I didn't really point him out. I just kept on looking over, going, oh, look at that. Look at him. And he just, I don't know if he dropped the ball at any point, but every time I looked, he was still going. So it just felt like, but it's mad though, innit? Because I suppose when you think about kids in football now, you get kids who get picked up by professional clubs at like
2.
ridiculous ages though. They get signed to professional contracts and all this sort of stuff at like 6 and 7 and 8. Really, really young. So, maybe I shouldn't have been as shocked as I was. But yeah,
No.
if that was you and you're a Wrexham fan, very good. Yeah. It's quite expensive in Wigan, I found. I think it was £6.70 for a pint of Madry. And it was like, I did see someone saying they bought 3 bottles of water and it was £9.90. So I think it was £3.30 for a bottle of water in there as well.
The thing is, though, that they can charge those sort of prices because where else are you going to get food and drink from?
Captive audience, isn't it?
Exactly.
Not a lot you can do. So it was a little bit expensive in there, but it is what it is, isn't it?
I quite liked the ground. I thought it was quite a nice ground. It was it seemed clean. Although where we stood, the walls were a bit dirty, and I did say, didn't I, paint the walls at some point because they were disgusting.
Yeah.
But no, it was a nice ground. It was nicely organised. Even though there was like 4,000 odd Wrexham fans there was still space to move. It wasn't like
not so much at half time though.
I don't know. I never ever go downstairs at half time because it's just too stressful.
Ridiculously busy at half time. But we got there in early as well, didn't we? So there wasn't really any queues and all that sort of stuff. So no, decent ground. Not been there before. Liked it. Yeah, it was all right. It does very much fall into the bracket of which is quite a common thing these days. New-ish grounds getting built next to or on retail parks, that sort of thing. You do get quite a few of them these days. Doncaster was similar that we went to. York back in the National League, that was the same sort of thing. Wigan, I'm guessing it's cheaper land out of the city or town, and it's on a retail park and that sort of thing.
Works.
I'm guessing.
I like it.
Look, unchanged lineup.
Yep, no shock. Got 11 out of 11 for my predicted lineup. Just saved previous.
Maybe maybe it is time to change it up a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think now of any outstanding players that we had on Saturday's game against Wigan. Ollie Rathbone, goes without saying, he's the usual workhorse that he is. Sam Smith, I think he was all right. He did all right. There was nobody that I thought, oh my God, you know what? We deserve to win because such and such played amazingly.
We 100% did not deserve to win.
No,
not at all. It was dire. I felt on Saturday. We looked more scared to lose than we did hungry to win, I think.
Yeah.
I did say last week, I said I don't think a draw is the end of the world.
No.
It did sort of feel like the end of the world on Saturday, though, because of how poor we were. It did sort of feel like the end of the world, especially when you go in numbers, when 4,500 of you go to cheer the lads on and they don't really put in a performance. That's when it's not so much you feel let down, but it does make you feel a bit flat.
Yeah.
Because as fans, you sort of think, well, there's nothing more that we could have done. You know, to help you out here. We've come with 4,500. We've brought the noise. We've cheered you on. And then from the players' aspect, you know, the question would be, do you feel like you did enough, you know, from your side? Because I don't think as fans there's more that we could have done on Saturday.
Oh, God, no. The atmosphere, as always, was amazing. You know, singing from the start to the finish. This is what I like about away games. Obviously, you want the win. Obviously, you know, that goes without saying, but I just love the atmosphere and the fact that you go to an away game and you see people, like you go to a Wrexham game, you go to a Wrexham game and you see the same people that you sit by week in, week out, which is obviously lovely, but you go to away games and you see people that like you've known for years, but you haven't seen them for years.
Yeah.
And that happened. There was a lad who I used to go to school. He was in my class in school. He was there. He said hello. There was a guy that we used to work with. He said hello. And it was like, it's just, you know, and there's people as well that listen and watch the podcast. And they said hello as well. And it's just, you kind of don't get that when you go into the same stand, the same seats, not every single game.
No, maybe not.
So it was nice that, you know, it would have been even nicer if we got a win, but we didn't. So it's
So what you're saying here is, as a social event,
it's amazing.
Tip top.
For somebody who's not very social, yeah.
But for football, not so great.
Well, usually, you know, we do, you know, we have had some good away wins, but yes, Saturday was just a bit dire, a bit lacklustre.
Well, let's put it like this, right? The highlights that were put out by Sky were 90 seconds long. And I have got to be honest with you, there was 2 highlights that they put in that highlights package.
That weren't highlights.
That were absolutely not highlights. So I think they had about 50 seconds worth of highlights from the game, which were poor in themselves. But they just chucked a couple of extra bits in there that were just like, what are you even putting this in for? So that is a very strong indication of the type of game that it was.
I tell you as well, what the highlight for me was when they, at half-time, they had a Wigan fan and a Wrexham fan get into these, what they called Zorbs.
Zorbs, yeah.
Zorb ball things. And they had these tiny little goals. Obviously, if you were there, and I don't know whether, when you're watching it on the telly, whether you get to see the halftime or I don't know. But they had these little tiny goals and they were ball size, basically, weren't they? And they had to basically get past each other and get goals, you know. But my God, the Wigan fan was like an older man. He wasn't dead old, but he was like older than the Wrexham fan, who was quite young. And he was proper going in for him, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But seeing somebody in a plastic ball getting flipped over and falling over is quite hilarious. So that was the highlight for me. Which is quite sad, really, considering...
it's a damning indictment of the game, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
Look, lots. We drifted back into this side-to-side passing,
hoofball,
backwards passing, long balls. isolating the midfield by going straight from the back to the front.
Passing it to Wigan players.
Yeah,
we did that quite a few times.
Yeah, it was. And Peter actually messaged me at a half time. He said, how often do we want to play the ball straight to the Wigan keeper? And it was just, everything was just off.
Yeah.
Poor decisions in possession, just in general, really, that you could tell that gave Wigan a lift. Because, they'd gone into the game, obviously looking at our league position, and when we sort of played so poorly, long balls, and their centre-halves were either just swallowing them up or they were going too long, straight to the keeper. And they sort of grew in confidence. They started closing us down a little bit more. And sort of starting to maybe believe there was something in the game for them. They're scrapping for every point at the moment. They're at the wrong end of the table. Maybe a bit of a false position for them because they are good defensively. And we were going to have to work to get it done. I felt Jimmy was a bit lost on Saturday as well. And I don't know if there's an element of playing against your former team. He's a consummate professional. Yeah. And I'm not saying, but he just looked lost. He got caught so many times of being too far forward, balls going in behind him, and he was just miles off it, in my opinion, on Saturday. I'm not going to sit here singling out one player as the reason why we didn't play well. There was a lot of instances, but I just did notice that with Jimmy. And we did look better when we had the two Ryans on. I did see a little bit of criticism for Ryan Longman of, yes, he's getting, he is getting balls into the box, but he's just smashing balls in. There's no quality there and there's nothing on the end of it. I'm not sure I completely agree with that. But we did look better with the two Ryans on. I think a lot of people are starting to lose patience with the Jay Rodriguez situation. And, I've seen so many posts about, what is he actually contributing? I think he's very good going back and winning the ball back, when we're sort of out of possession up the pitch. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Let's just leave it as I'm not sure.
So a nice little treat. We were obviously in the stands and we heard that Paul Mullen was in the stands with us, obviously, so that means he wasn't on the bench.
Yes.
Anywhere on the team sheet last week, sorry. So my friend sent me a picture of his son. They were in the stand where Mullen was, and his little boy had a picture taken with him. And people were just saying, why isn't Mullen out there? Why is he sitting with fans or not even getting his bum on the bench? It's so weird. But this is the thing, right? We as fans, we kind of know what's given, information that's given to us. But we don't know what's kind of happening behind closed doors. Is Parky trying to get Mullen to pull his socks up? Is he trying to get him to get annoyed so that when he does come back on the pitch, he's like all guns blazing, 25 goals in one game? Do you know what I mean? Is it? We just don't know. And,
yeah,
it's such a weird one.
Or to flip that, is it stubbornness? Has he decided, I want Jay Rodriguez to come in? We're obviously paying Jay a very decent wage. Is it the stubbornness of going, well, I wanted this player, so I will continue with this, and I will make sure that this works, or I will keep going with this until it works? I'm not saying that is what it is.
Maybe.
But is there an element of stubbornnness there?
But it's clear. It's, we always do trust Parky. Parky we trust. But there does have to get to a point with him even going, do you know what, this is not working. But, how long does it take? With the Exeter formation that we had that time, and he kept using it and using it. And then he decided, we've lost a few times now, it's not working.
Just got to trust the process.
You do have to trust the process. We're all, not me, because I'm not a fay with everything, but I think people who aren't football managers.
Yeah, all got an opinion.
They've all got an opinion. But yeah, so yeah.
One thing to mention from Saturday, which did concern me a little bit, so I'm going to bring it up. There were a few occasions. I like a no-nonsense defender. I've mentioned that before. You know, if there's an element of doubt, smash it into the stands. Just get rid of it. You know, don't try and do anything fancy, anything clever.
There was a lot of that on Saturday.
There was, and Owen O'Connell can be very no-nonsense, but there are times when no-nonsense becomes annoying. And it was Owen O'Connell seems to lack trust in going back to Arthur, because there were a few occasions, there were two that really stick out in my mind, when he could have gone back to Arthur, but he slashed at it with his left foot and it went out for a corner.
Yeah.
There was another one where he could have gone back to Arthur and he put it out for quite an attacking throw into Wigan. There was another one where Arthur and Owen weren't talking, and I think that ended up going out for a corner. I'm not saying, oh my God, but it is concerning when I see things like that, because it does feel to me like Owen does not trust going back to Arthur for whatever reason. And I saw it a few times on Saturday. I have seen it before, so it's something I think I want to keep an eye on moving forward, because... For me,
like you could change it.
No, I'm not saying I can, but it is worrying if that is the case, if that is his mentality, I think. Look, is it the end of the world? No.
No.
Would we have taken second with 4 games to go? 100%. It only becomes a problem if that is how we are going to play.
For the next 4 games.
For the next 4 games. Exactly that. That's when it becomes a problem. Is it a problem now? No. It was a bad performance. Nobody really sort of stepped up to the mark. They had some big defenders in there, and they gobbled everything up, and we couldn't get around them. We didn't feel like we particularly had a plan B, and it just didn't work for us. Not the end of the world. You're going to get games like that. But like I say, if that's how we're going to play for the next 4 games, that's when it becomes a big problem. Yeah. So we just need to dust ourselves off and forget about it, I think.
Move on.
What's
the thing that you say, wipe your mouth?
Yeah, wipe your mouth.
Wipe your mouth. I've heard that quite a few times.
See, and you thought I'd made it up.
Well, it still sounds like a made-up thing. But
JB said all points matter with 4 to go.
Absolutely.
David Chamberlain, Wrexham are still getting second place. Have faith.
Roy Swanger, 0 shots on goal with 59% possession. Not good.
Yeah, the no shots on goal really hit hard as well on Saturday. You know, I think Dobson's shot from the edge of the box that he sort of spooned wide was the only real sort of time that I remember as attempting a shot. There was a penalty appeal as well, which I haven't touched on.
Yeah.
Ball, I can't remember who it was, tried to cross it in, lad had his arm up. For me, probably a penalty. But the ref didn't give it. He ended up giving a corner. We were very far away. Weirdly, they didn't include that in the highlights, which I thought, compared to some of the stuff that was in there, that was definitely something that needed looking at again, but it wasn't for whatever.
So some stats from Saturday, just quickly. So big chances, these are Wrexham stats, obviously we don't care about thingy. So ball possession, like you said, Roy, it was 59%, big chances 0.
Yeah.
Total shots 4, corner kicks 5, fouls 10. We passed the ball 415 times to Wigan's 289 times.
Yeah, so
I'm not sure how they work that out really. Is there someone with like a clicky thing?
Yeah, clicker, yeah.
Is there?
Yeah. So
wow,
we made 415 passes. I'm going to say that 405 of them were backwards or sideways. But,
yeah. And 7 free kicks. So, but we didn't get any yellow cards. So every card.
Yeah, Rick, take the point and run. Not a well-coordinated attack today, but still holding the advantage. We need to win the next 2 games, as it's highly likely Wycombe will drop points against Bolton or Charlton, or both. Looking forward to these 4 Easter Showdown games to determine who wins promotion.
JPH, if you can't win it, don't lose it. I like that. I like that. A point is a point. And away at Wigan 2 years ago saw Wrexham. That was a mixture of Wrexham and Wigan together. Wrexham drawing 0-0 away at Barnet around the same day. Second place, League One, 4 games to go. What a team, what a town.
Rhonda Wells said definitely disappointing, but also not the end of the world. And I think we need to go with that.
So if you would like to comment on the show, you can do. You can contact or comment on any YouTube video that we've put out there. You can click contact the show on the podcast. You can contact us on Blue Sky, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, or you can email us at methewifeandwrexhamafc@gmail.com.
Quick Saturday roundup. So Wycombe beat Stevenage 1-0 in the 90th minute. Really disappointing. I was gutted about that.
I saw your face when you went, you looked at your phone and you went, Wycombe have scored.
Stockport won 3-1 against Rotherham. Charlton won 1-0 away at Cambridge, and Reading drew 0-0 with Northampton. Birmingham are champions of League One after we dropped points on Saturday. Well done.
Boring.
That's all you're getting. So we're on 82 points at the moment. Wycombe 1 further back on 81. Stockport are 5 behind us at the moment in 4th place. Charlton are 6 behind us. We're guaranteed playoffs now. So that's one thing. Let's try and take a positive from that. We're 5 ahead of Stockport with 4 to play. That feels good enough, but you're never 100% sure. So I think it's probably a straight shootout between us and Wycombe at the moment. So Wycombe are away at Bolton on Friday. They're at home to Charlton on Monday, and then their remaining 2 games are Leyton Orient away and Stockport at home. So you just got to keep the faith, I think, a little bit. But it's guest time, so let's forget about that. It is guest time, and today we have an absolute Wrexham legend joining us.
Definitely put a smile on your face, I think.
It definitely will put a smile on everyone's face. True Wrexham legend. We are very privileged to welcome to the show the one and only Billy Ashcroft. Welcome to the show, Billy.
I thought you were talking about somebody else when you said legend then. I was waiting to come on.
I think just to qualify what I'm saying with Wrexham legend, one of only 51 players to have played over 250 games for the club.
Yep.
12th in the all-time top goal scorer list. I don't think it's too shabby, Billy. I've got to be honest.
I could have done better. You could always do better, but I mean, I'm just quite happy I played there. I absolutely loved my time there.
So talking of, we were talking earlier on the show about how young kids today, or how young kids are when they start with professional clubs. But I believe you got into football quite late. Is that right?
Yeah, I was 14 in school, and I'd just become the Liverpool champion at triple jump, and it was also a Commonwealth thing, and I came second in the Commonwealth. And the teacher said to me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you train with the school B team. Now, the school B team were all the kids that could do limping and backs and stuff. And he let me train with them, and I started enjoying it. And I enjoyed it that much that because I'd never kicked the ball before. Bob Scott was in my class. Bob was the school captain. And I was an order boy, you should ride the bike delivering groceries. And my 50 pence a week that I got, I bought some envelopes, stamps, and wrote for trials for everybody, but I'd never even kicked the ball. So it was, I got rejected by Tranmere, by Everton, anybody who knew what they were doing. And I finished up at Blackpool. But that was 15, and I was there for a couple of months. And it was killing me, the travelling. And there was a guy who lived on my road called Dave Hughes, who played for Wrexham, played 1 game against Gillingham in about 1975, 76. Got beat 4-3, and he never made another appearance. But he said he trains in Liverpool with a guy called Jack Daniels, which is quite appropriate, obviously. And he said, come along with me. So I went with him, and when he said, Jack Daniels said, what position do you play? Dave said, centre forward, because I thought of centre half. And that was it. I think it was about a week later, I played against Drab and St Mary's, And 2 weeks later, I was in the reserves. I was 15 years of age.
Wow.
Wow.
That is a story.
That is a
That is a
story, definitely. I was there's a good friend of the show. His name's Steve. He started Dragon Chat, so we mention that obviously every week on the show. And very strangely, he posted one of his favourite Wrexham memories on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. Last week it was. And it was the first ever game his dad took him to. It was against Sheffield Wednesday. It finished 3-0. And on the score sheet that day, 2 goals was Billy Ashcroft. And I thought how strange it is. He's posted one of his favourite Wrexham memories the week that we've got Billy on. Talking of sort of like greatest sort of Wrexham memories, do you have one standout memory, Billy, that it's something that you will always remember from your time at Wrexham?
Well, to be honest, I was there 9 years, so I got an awful lot of standout memories. I mean, it was a time of firsts for me. It was my debut. I got married when I was at Wrexham. My firstborn was not born in Wrexham, but he was born while we were there. I passed my driving test, so everything was there. But there's like 2 memories. One was because I was rejected by a guy at Tranmere who said, "You'll never make a football as long as you've got a hole in your backside. Go home, go back to school and learn." His name was Dave Russell, the manager. And I made my home debut on the 10th of October 1970 against Tranmere. And the centre half, I gave him quite a torrid time. And I was thinking, of that, yeah. That bugger. The next thing, he comes in the changing room after the match and said, "Congratulations, I'm so pleased you never listened to me." And I thought, fair play to the guy. But it was just when somebody says you can't do something and then you prove them wrong. And then the other one was Anderlecht. It was probably my best ever game for Wrexham. And being in Europe and playing against those fantastic players, that made me want more. That's the reason why, in the end, I went to Middlesbrough.
Yeah, you're talking there about sort of fantastic players. I mean, at Wrexham, you played with some absolute Wrexham heroes. You played with Arvon Griffiths, Joey Jones, Gareth Davis, Mel Sutton, Brian Lloyd. I mean, I could go on and on and on.
There is a list and a half. Yeah,
there absolutely is in that era. What was there? I mean, this is probably an unfair question, but while you were there, was there sort of one player that stood out, one that you thought they had just complete different level to everyone that you'd played with before?
absolutely. Well, I mean, if you look at the players we had, I mean, Mickey Thomas was just a genius anyway. Bobby Shinton was one of the classiest players I've ever played with. I played with Dave Smallman, who for me was one of the best finishers I've seen. But the best player for me over Arvin, I mean, Arvin was a great player, but was Graham Little. I mean, Nosher for me was one of the best players I've ever played with. He could score all kinds of different types of goals. He was a very dangerous player when he was eating as well. Don't get in front of him when he's eating because that's what we call the Nosher. But yeah, for me, he's the best ever Wrexham player. I know you've got Dixie and Paul Mullin now, and you've got all these players. But for me, Graham Little, just every week, and he was so relaxed about it. We'd come from the hotel where he'd been asleep all night. He'd get on the coach going for one of the big games, and he'd asleep on the back of the bus, mouth wide open, no nerves whatsoever. But yeah, got to be, for me, the best player ever.
So after your time at Wrexham, you left to play in the top flight of English football with Middlesbrough. Do you think now Ryan and Rob's dreams of getting Wrexham all the way to the Premier League could actually become a reality?
Why not? Yeah, I mean, they're going the right way about it. I mean, I've been reading some like negative comments about Parky, and it's like he doesn't know what he's doing. So, well, he's back-to-back promotions and we're sitting second. I think he does know what he's doing, doesn't he? And it's like we've been in the doldrums for so many years, and I mean, okay, you can complain as much as you want then, but if you look where we are now, the man's a genius for me, and Rob and Ryan have actually got the right man for the job. I think just let him get on with it, and who's to say in 2 more years, 3 more years, that they can't be up there playing against Everton? Sorry, I didn't mention any of the Premiership team, but Everton.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think there are a lot of Parky haters out there, but I think if we, like you said, look at where we are now compared to where we were, a few years ago, it's like, he's got to be doing something right.
He has.
He's definitely doing something right.
He certainly has. I think they've definitely come out of the woodwork after the weekend, which
They usually do, though, don't
which
they?
we've obviously talked about, but yeah, I think he is. He's definitely doing.
He is a genius. I agree with you. So, if you were to pit your 1976 Wrexham team against the current 2025 team, who do you think would come out on top?
Well, don't forget we're all 70 now, but I think we give them a good game. We'd have to have somebody tying our laces because I can't down and tie my laces anymore. But I mean, you've only got to look at the goalkeeper. We had Dave Gaskell, Brian Lloyd, two great goalkeepers on one goal. Max Cleworth and Brunt at the back. Well, we had Gareth Davis, we had Alan Dwyer, we had Eddie May. And in midfield, you've got, I've written it down here, Ollie Rathbone is just like Mickey Thomas. He never stopped running. You got Paul Mullen and Ollie Palmer, but we had Bobby Shinton and Graham Whittle. And I said before, Graham's my favourite ever player. But in midfield, you got Arvin, we had Mel Sutton, and Mickey Thomas. We had Joey playing for us. And to compare them would be unfair because if I said we were a better team, that means this team today are not a great team, but they certainly are. But for me, if I was going to play, I'd want to be playing back then, not now.
Yeah.
That's
a good answer.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Talking about the current sort of Wrexham team, we are right at the business end at the moment. We've got
4 games to go, is it now?
Yeah, 4 games to go. It is, to use a sort of phrase from sort of Alex Ferguson and has been used in the Welcome to Wrexham documentary, it is definitely squeaky bum time, I think. We're right up there. We're 1 point ahead of Wycombe, who annoyingly keep winning.
Last minute goals,
which is really even more annoying. But, what do you think? For the rest of the season, 4 games to go. We're in the driving seat. It's in our hands. What's your gut feeling about how the rest of the season's going to play out?
Well, I think we'll do. All we've got to do is win the games we've got in front of us. I'm used to the disappointment of not making it when you should have done because in '77 we played Crystal Palace at home and we needed not to get beat by 2 goals and we promoted. And we were looking at the clock at the Tech, and it was like 9 o'clock. And I think it was 2 each or something like that. Promoted. 10 past, it's 4-2. They scored 2 goals. And we got a win against Mansfield, who were the champions on the Saturday. And I don't know whether it was the bottle wins in us or it was just the pressure or whatever. But we didn't make it. And I'm thinking the players today understand. You don't make it hard for yourself. You've got to keep winning. If you win all your games, you're up. But as you say, Wycombe are starting to get very annoying at the moment. Just every so often you think you're just pulling that little bit away and then they grab you back again. But we've got a team and a half there, you know what I mean? So, yeah. I used to thrive under pressure. Graham Whittle thrived on pressure. Dave Smallman thrived on pressure. You see these lads today, they're the same thing. I watched Ollie Rathbone playing, and I just watch him and think he's like Mickey Thomas. He loves the pressure. When things aren't going well, he's always looking for that space and taking the ball off people. And that's all you do. You've got players like that. Everyone else starts to chip in and thinking, well, we're all confident we're going to go for it. And I just think, just keep a steady head. Parky's not going to let them get ahead of themselves. But yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think Parky is kind of one. He is quite. I think he keeps the lads quite grounded, and you mentioned Paul Mullen and Ollie Palmer earlier. Obviously, they've not been getting on the team sheet or even not even on the bench.
No.
Recently, Paul Mullen was at the Wigan game.
Yeah, which we mentioned. He was in the stand.
He was in the stand. Do you think that we are missing Ollie Palmer and Paul Mullen on the pitch, or do you think that we've kind of got quite a solid team at the moment?
Solid team, as I say, you've got to trust Parky. There's reasons why you do things. John Neal I always thought I was the best player, and I know I wasn't. But John Neal would leave me out, and I was like, "What's he doing?" He knew what he was doing. He knew why he left me out because he knew when I came back in, I was raring to go. I wanted to go. Parky's the same. I don't know why Paul Mullen's not playing because he's a natural goal scorer. But there's reasons. And the thing is, he's the boss. You've got to sit back and just say, get on with it. If at the end of the season it doesn't work, then we can start complaining. But don't complain now.
Yeah.
He's the. I mean, you do move on. By the way, I mean when I was at Middlesbrough, we had Graham Souness playing midfield for. It was my roommate at Middlesbrough, and I couldn't see any way past when Graham left. Then all of a sudden we got these young lads coming through. Mark Proctor, we eventually sold to Notts Forest. Stephen Bell, who Kevin Keegan said was going to be the best thing since whatever. So there's always somebody coming in that back door, and hopefully Parky's got them there.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that Siân struggles with the most, season by season. And I've always tried to explain, it doesn't matter how good, we are a League One team, or when I've said in the past, we are a League Two team, we are national. It doesn't matter how good the players you've got. You're 99.9% sure there is better out there, and players are going to come in and take the places of the players that you've got in there. But you still struggle with that, don't you?
I do struggle, yeah. I mean, when Luke Young left, I was devastated.
Yeah.
I loved Luke. I thought he was an outstanding player. But you mentioned Ollie Rathbone before. We are massive fans of Ollie Rathbone, aren't we? He is just, like you said, week in, week out, he just works that pitch. And I said to you the other day, didn't I? I said he's such a happy soul. He's just, he's always got this big smile on his face. He just seems to, he's one of the players that wants to be there.
Yeah.
He wants to play for the fans. He wants to play for the team. And he wants to get us over the line. And I just think that's really important for to get us over the line, basically.
Yeah. Do you think Ollie's Ollie Rathbone's probably our best player at the moment? You've obviously mentioned him there.
At the moment, yeah. And young Dobson, I mean, you've got those two midfield. They are such grafters. But say Ollie Palmer, I mean, he's always there. But I'm a big fan of him because he's my type of player. I mean, that's what I was like. Big lad up front, tried to hold the ball up. I think he's better at that than I was. The problem you've got is that when you change from one league to another league, and all your best players are like that season doing really well, and then they move up slightly, and the opposition changes. Your team doesn't change, the opposition does, and it just might not suit the way you play. He could actually go from the division out to the Premiership and have a blinding season, but might not make it in the team he's in now. But it's so different, you know what I mean? Every league you get has its own sort of foibles, the way they sort of play things. But for me, he's a target man, and I like him. But as I say, I'm going with Parky, whatever Parky says.
Yeah,
because he knows his stuff.
Yeah.
He clearly does know his stuff.
He clearly does.
But, everybody who doesn't, who's not a football manager, who's in the stands, they're always a football manager, aren't they? They always think they know best, It's one of those things.
Yeah, definitely. Look, Billy, thank you very much for joining us. Just one thing before you go. We've got 2 games coming up this week. So we've got Bristol Rovers on Good Friday, and we've got Blackpool on Easter Monday. Predictions for them 2 games, if we could get a score out of you for them 2.
Oh, difficult, isn't it? But I've always been positive. Always go for the win. I mean, if you go for a win, you might get a draw. If you go for a draw, you could get beat. One of my coaches from back up in the northeast always said to me, if you aim for the ceiling, you'll finish up halfway up the wall. But if you aim for the stars, you'll finish at the top of the ceiling. And I thought that's exactly how you should be doing. You should be aiming every single game. I mean, it's like when I went in Holland, it was like I became a bit of a talisman over there. But as he said, a cult hero. And it was, I've been injured. Somebody stood on my face and I had to have plastic surgery because I had a big, really open wound. And there's no way I could have played the following game. And he put me on the bench. The manager called back, put me on the bench. I said, but I can't play. He said, but the lads know that when you're there, they feel better. So it's like that talisman, yeah, and we've got the same with a couple of players, you know what I mean? If we sort of get them working, I can see us going through the rest of the season without getting beat.
That'd be lovely. That would certainly help me with my nerves.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's in our own hands, isn't it?
Exactly.
It is exactly that.
Yeah.
Look, Billy, thank you so much. You're very modest, but you are an absolute Wrexham legend. My dad was very excited that you were coming on because he watched you throughout the 70s, and so he's very excited to see this.
I'm just glad you never said your granddad. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Billy. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Cheers, Siân. Thanks, Ryan.
Oh, what a lovely guy he is.
It's really lovely.
It was great. Absolutely great. Look, we've got 2 games coming up, as mentioned, so let's talk about them. The first one is our 43rd league game of the season against Bristol Rovers. When you say it out loud, it is coming to the end, isn't it?
I don't like to think about it.
No, that is on Good Friday, the 18th of April at 3 p.m.
Or Friday if you don't celebrate Easter.
Yeah, it's still Good Friday though, isn't it?
Yeah, we're off work, so yeah, happy days.
Yeah, look, they play in blue and white. Their away shirt's green, third shirt is black. Last league game with them was the away game on the 21st of December, and that was a 1-1 draw. We were there.
We were there.
We were there. They scored an 86th minute equaliser after Elliot Lee had put us 1-0 up. We went all that way and I didn't even see our goal.
Yeah, I was on my own, cheering, just hugging random people.
Yeah, because
Like you do.
I had to take our son to the toilet because he really wanted to go to the toilet. So I went with him, missed the goal. Hey ho. Elliot Lee has only scored 1 goal since that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, there we go. Their top scorer is Rule Sotirio. He has scored 6. He scored on Saturday as well. They lost 2-1 at home to Exeter on Saturday. They are 21st on 42 points. They are in a massive relegation battle with Burton Albion at the moment.
Burton Albion are doing all right, so...
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
They've won 12, drawn 6 and lost 24 this season. They have lost their last 6 games in a row. Long may that continue into Friday.
It won't though, will it?
Go on.
They're in our luck.
Prediction.
Right, I'm going to go.
Yes.
3-1.
3-1.
3-1.
I am going to go 2-0.
Yeah, boring.
Yes. It is a little bit boring. I will take boring every day of the week.
Yeah, me
So,
too.
At the moment, not for the rest of the time,
No.
but at the moment.
So our next game, which I'm after the Bristol Rovers game, is on Easter Monday, or Monday if you don't celebrate Easter, which is the 21st of April, and it's in Blackpool. I'm so excited about this game. I think more so because we're going to Blackpool. But anyway, it's 44th league game of the season. As I said, it's on Monday the 21st of April at 3 p.m. UK time. We're away at Bloomfield Road, capacity 16,500. We were allocated 2,141 tickets, which, suffice to say, have all sold out, and they were sold out within minutes, I think, really
100%.
quickly.
Yeah.
It's about 87 miles away, which is about an hour and a half, which is not too bad. They play in orange. Their away shirt is dark blue with swirls. And their third shirt is white, but obviously they're going to be playing in orange. So we're not going to be playing in gold because that's too close to orange. So
Black,
I reckon
I'm guessing.
black. Yeah, black or red. Oh, no, red's even. Yeah, black,
too close.
definitely.
Yeah.
So the last league game we played with them was on Boxing Day, or just a normal day if you don't celebrate Christmas.
Oh my God, stop. Stop.
Well, you've got to, haven't you? You've got to, include everyone. So we won 2-1 against them. Paul Mullen, wonder. I can never say that word.
Wonder goal.
Wonder.
Paul Mullen scored a wonder goal.
Yeah, he scored a goal. And the dodgy Stephen Fletcher penalty.
Yeah, the one where it hit the defender's back and we got a penalty.
Yeah. So their top scorer with 11 goals this season is Ashley Fletcher. Their game was postponed on Saturday because Birmingham, who they were going to be playing against, are in the playoffs. And
they're not in the playoffs. 100%.
Not in the playoffs.
They are in the trophy final.
Trophy final, which happened yesterday. away on the 13th of April. So their game was postponed. They're 10th on 60 points. So they're 9 points off the playoffs. And they've got a game in hand because obviously their game against Birmingham was postponed. They've won 15, they've drawn 15, and they've lost 11. Their last 5 games, they've won 3 and lost 2. They've only lost 3 home games all season. Only us, Birmingham and Charlton have lost less at home.
Yes.
Worrying. But they have only won 6 at home all season. So, you know, out of 40... whatever games it is, that's
no. So they've only won 6 at home all season.
Said.
Yeah, it's not 40 odd games at home, is it?
No, it's not 20 odd then.
Yeah.
So
only the bottom 4 have won less at home than Blackpool.
Yeah.
So they don't lose a lot at home, but they also don't win a lot at home either. So I think probably everyone can guess what that means. They draw a lot at home.
Which we don't want.
No, predictions.
3-0.
3-0?
Why not?
No, I'm not saying.
I went for 3-0 when we played Burton.
Yeah. I think maybe that's a stretch. I'm going to go 2-1.
Okay. Happy days.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it feels, looking at the spreadsheet, our prediction, there's like 2 more games to predict. That's really depressing.
I know. Yeah, I know. Look, just to let everyone know, we got our Lincoln tickets. We're very excited about that. So we are going to the Lincoln game.
We just hope that the Lincoln game is just a game and it's not... You know, we've already been promoted. That's what we're hoping.
I don't think that's going to be the case.
I don't think it will be the case, but, you know, we'll be there. So the last 4 games of the season, we will be there. So home and away, we will be there.
We will. Look, quick shout out for Dragon Chat. It's a mental health peer support group. They run 2 weekly Zoom calls, one on a Monday at 8 p.m. for women, and the other one is on Thursday at 7 p.m, and that's for men. If you want to get on them calls, 2 ways to find the details. If you're watching us on YouTube, all the details are down in the description of this video. Or go to the Wrexham AFC website, go to the Communities tab, and then the Health tab, and you'll find Dragon Chat in there. Or you can follow them on social media. It is at Dragon Chat WXMFC or at dragonchat.bsky.social on the other one, Blue Sky.
The other one.
Right. Quiz time.
Yep.
Are you ready? How are you feeling?
All right.
About the quiz, I mean.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, okay. Right. The quiz this week is more or less than Billy. Okay?
Okay.
So it's a Billy Ashcroft
special-esque
quiz.
Okay. Right.
All you have to do is answer more or less than Billy. Okay?
Yes.
Question 1.
Yes.
Billy Ashcroft scored 95 goals for Wrexham. Did Andy Morrell score more or less than Billy?
Less.
Incorrect. It's not a great start. He scored more. So Billy is 12th on the all-time top scorers list. Andy is 11th.
Oh my God, only just!
To make it even worse, he only scored 1 goal more than him. He scored 96.
Okay.
Question 2.
Thanks, Andy.
Billy Ashcroft made 273 appearances for Wrexham. Did Luke Young make more or less than Billy?
How many did Billy make, sorry?
273.
Luke was less.
He was less, 259 for Luke. Question 3. Hat-tricks. Does Lee Jones have more or less hat-tricks for Wrexham than Billy?
More.
Lee has more.
Less. More. More.
More. It is more. Lee had 2, Billy only had 1.
Stop doing that because you make me doubt myself.
Okay, I'm just asking, making sure, just clarifying your answer.
Well.
Number 4.
Yes.
4. Have Ollie Palmer and Mickey Thomas combined scored more or less goals for Wrexham than Billy?
More.
Incorrect, it's less. So Ollie's got 44, Mickey got 43, so that makes 87 in total, and Billy got 95. Question 5. Neil Roberts scored 6 penalties for Wrexham. But is that more or less than Billy?
More.
It is, but more. And the reason for that is Billy never took a penalty.
I was going to say, it's not really his... That wasn't really his forte, was it?
How do you know? He's a goal scorer. Paul Manley's a goal scorer.
Yeah.
He takes penalties.
Well,
he used to take penalties. Sorry. Take that. So you got... I think you got...
2 out of 5, I think.
2 or 3 out of 5. Should we go with 3?
Let me have a look. Have you finished the questions?
I have finished the questions, yeah.
Wrong. Yes. Wrong.
Wrong.
Wrong. Yeah, 2.
2. I was trying to give you an extra one there.
Yeah, I should have just shut my mouth and just let you.
Yeah. Look, thank you very much for joining us this week. Don't forget, next week there is no show on Monday. It will instead be on Wednesday, the same time, 6 p.m. Look, we hope you have a great Easter, or whatever you call it if you don't celebrate it.
Just a Good Friday or week or whatever.
You're literally calling it Good Friday. Even though, anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Look, thanks very much for joining us. Enjoy your week.
Don't forget to join us for our pre-live game. Oh, shut up. Our pre-match review before the Bristol game and the Blackpool game, and our final whistle.
Yes. Yeah, do that. Do all them things Siân just said.
I didn't even know what I said.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.